Race becoming an issue during jury selection today. On Tuesday, the court was able to narrow down 65 qualified potential jurors. And today they narrowed that number down to 16, 12 jurors and 4 alternates, in which 11 of the 12 jurors are white. The remaining juror is black. There's currently no breakdown of the 4 alternate jurors. Earlier, Ahmaud Arbery's mother, that is the black jogger we've been referring to, weighed in on the jury selection.
Seeing the African American jurors come in and they were questioned so harshly by the defense team, and seeing them all struggle, I mean, it was very hard, and it was just it's like unreal. I mean, I just can't put it into words. I was very shocked that we only had one black African American man. I mean, it's devastating.
The judge in the case is hoping to begin opening day on Friday. That's when jurors will be sworn in and opening statements can begin. Turning now to New York City, where Eric Adams is set to become the next mayor of the city. The former police captain beat Curtis Lewa, becoming the second black mayor in the country's largest city. His experience in law enforcement and his stance on crime setting him apart from his Republican opponent. Last week, he joined me here on Black News Tonight to talk about some of the issues on his agenda.
Public safety and justice is the prerequisite to prosperity. I believe we could have the justice we deserve and the safety we need. Then education. Education is the contributor to many of the problems we're facing in this city and across the country. There's a real feeling that black and brown and poor people have been abandoned by the educational system. And when you look at Rikers Island, our jail, 80% of the men and women there don't have a high school diploma or an equivalency, and 55% have a learning disability. So the crime is not only what happens on our streets, but what's happening in our educational facilities every day.
We now move from the Big Apple to the second largest city in the state, Buffalo, where the 4-term incumbent has snagged another term. Mayor Byron Brown defeated the Democratic nominee and proud socialist India Walton. Brown is already claiming victory after a majority of the write-in votes were counted in his favor. India Walton's big upset in the June Democratic primary was a shock to the status quo in the city. She joined me then on Black News Tonight, and she spoke about her goal of bringing everyday people back to the table. Seeing her as a major threat to the establishment, centrist Democrats, along with Republicans and the big developers in the city, they all placed their support behind the write-in candidate Brown, who raised more than $1 million. But Walton is not conceding yet. She says she'll wait until each and every vote is counted. Yesterday on Black News Tonight, we reported on a highly watched ballot question in Minneapolis. It asked whether the city's police department should be replaced with a new Department of Public Safety. Well, voters rejected the ballot initiative that supporters had hoped would be a groundbreaking victory in the fight for police reform around the country. An organizer on the ground joins me again tonight with the details. Once again, I am joined by Miski Noor, who is co-director of Black Visions, located in Minneapolis. Miski, welcome back to the show. I wish it were a victory interview, but I'm glad to talk to you anyway. How close was the vote?
It was so close. And I'd say while we didn't win the ballot initiative, it was still a victory in so many ways because we got 45% of the vote, which is actually 60,000, more than 60,000 people voting yes for a new vision of public safety here in Minneapolis.
That is a big deal. Were you surprised at the outcome?
A bit. I mean, we knew it was going to be close, and what we were hearing on the doors, what we were hearing on the phones, and even in text was folks were really excited to actually have a say on what public safety looks like here in Minneapolis and really push this campaign to the next step. But our work started long before this election season and will continue long after. And as we continue to contribute to this legacy of Black organizing towards a safer world for all of us.
What were the reasons? You talked to people, and as you said, many people were excited about doing this, but some were indicating that they wouldn't vote in this way in support of the initiative. What were some of the reasons they gave?
Well, one thing that I think really pushed folks away from our campaign is the opposition's fear-mongering that really happened. There was a lot of disinformation, a lot of misinformation, where folks were unclear about what would actually happen once this amendment passed. And what we were hearing on the doors, as we were actually able to give folks the facts, once they really learned what would happen if this amendment passed, they were with us, because a lot of people, so many people, thousands and thousands of people here in Minneapolis are ready for a new vision of safety. And so it was the disinformation, the misinformation, and the fear mongering that really happened that kept people from actually moving further into their imagination to actually decide together what safety looks like here in Minneapolis.
You can't be an activist, you certainly can't be an organizer and not be accustomed to setbacks. You know, we fight, we lose, we fight, we lose, we fight, we win, we fight, we lose. And we keep going and we keep pushing until we get more and more victories, but it's always an uphill climb against the odds. So when I think about the work you're doing, my question immediately became, when I saw the unfortunate result last night, what's next? What does the day after look like? You know, what's the next step in this struggle to transform Minneapolis and public safety? What are you planning?
Definitely. Thank you. So yeah, part of the setback is the entrenched power that exists, right? The power structures that exist that try to stop us from moving forward. But you know, just like last year, right? We were supposed to have this amendment on the ballot last year, and the bureaucracy of city government stopped us, and we kept going. Like you said, that is what movement does. And so what's coming up next is for us to continue to have these conversations, to continue to talk to our folks and decide what public safety looks like with one another, and not and to know, right, that still 60,000 people voted yes for a new vision of public safety. And so that's 60,000 people more who are with us and who are going to continue to build with day after the election and day beyond that as well. So what's coming up next is us talking to each other, figuring out what the strategies forward look like, and us deciding as the people of Minneapolis what safety looks like.
What are the biggest lessons you've taken away from last night's events?
Ooh, wow. As Miriam Kaba says, hope is a discipline, right? And so what I've taken away is the excitement, the joy, the presence of our folks to really dig in with one another, to know that when we actually come together to define what safety looks like, to actually come up against the infrastructure of policing, the infrastructure that is violent and that actually makes a lot of us unsafe, that is where our power actually exists. And so 60,000 people on our first try, 45% of the electorate that showed up in a municipal election. So many more. I think there was like double in numbers in early voting. What you know, the lessons I'm taking away is the power of the people, and that we're going to continue to fight, and that this moment is a moment for us to continue to do that with one another.
Oh, wow. Powerful, inspirational words. I have no doubt that the victory is coming. You'll keep fighting, you'll keep building, you'll keep organizing, you'll keep dreaming, and you'll win. It's really that simple. Miski, thank you so much for joining me these two nights, and hopefully we can be in conversation moving forward as you continue to do the important work in Minneapolis of reimagining and rebuilding public safety. All right. Children ages 5 through 11 are now eligible for the Pfizer COVID vaccine. Late Tuesday, the director of the CDC signed off recommending a low dose of the Pfizer vaccine for kids. And today, shots had taken place first thing in the morning in many places. The safety and efficiency of the vaccine and the efficacy really for children have been an ongoing debate between experts. Though children tend not to get as sick from the virus as adults, they still make up almost 2 million of the pandemic's COVID cases. Pfizer vaccine reported being 91% effective against symptomatic illness during its clinical trial for 5 to 11-year-olds. Be sure to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages to let us know how you feel. Also visit our website, bnc.tv, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out clips from the show.